Becky, thanks very much. Let's return, as promised, to our top story. G7 members have ratified a wide-ranging security pact with Ukraine at the NATO summit in Lithuania, but they stopped short of providing an exact time frame for Kyiv to join the security alliance. Let's go live to Kyiv. Let's speak to Yuriy, advisor to Ukraine's defence minister. Yuriy, welcome here to the programme. Clear frustration from President Zelensky yesterday. Today you have these security guarantees. Does that in any way ease the frustration that you are feeling?
Good evening. Of course, as our president said, this was a very good and productive summit for Ukraine, but it would be ideal, of course, if Ukraine received a very clear invitation to join NATO alliance with a very clearly defined time frame. Nevertheless, as you, I'm sure, have seen, these were two very intense days with lots of bilateral meetings, and now the announcement of the security guarantees pact by G7 means that our allies stand with Ukraine. Ukraine will be in NATO, and for us, the question of Ukraine's membership in NATO is not a question of if, it's when.
Do you understand that it's impossible now? Do you understand the reasoning behind all of that?
We understand very well that, there is a North Atlantic Treaty which stipulates that to be able to apply for membership, you must be at peace. So we understand that before this war is over, before we win this war, of course, the question of full-fledged membership of Ukraine in NATO is not going to be decided. But nevertheless, we are doing everything we can and have to ensure that we meet all the requirements, such as the interoperability of the Ukrainian armed forces with the NATO forces. We are already de facto protecting NATO's eastern flank. We are transforming our society in a way that will correspond to the political aspect of the NATO alliance. So we understand that it's not going to happen before the war ends, before we win the war, but we are receiving clear signs that Ukraine will be a member of NATO.
Yes, it becomes one step, not two steps. In terms of the security guarantees that have been agreed and ratified from individual countries, what in that package is likely to make any sort of short-term difference? Is there anything that's likely to impact short-term?
It's a very comprehensive package that will ensure that Ukraine can defend itself on the battlefield, that Ukraine can continue our liberation campaign, the aim of which is to drive the enemy out from our territory and restore our territorial integrity. It will also ensure the training of the Ukrainian servicemen. It will ensure that Ukraine receives capabilities in order to be able to build up its defense industry base. So it's a comprehensive package that will have to be now followed by bilateral agreements with each one of the signatories, and hopefully it will result in greater guarantees. But I would like to stress that these security guarantees, they are not instead of Ukraine's membership at NATO, they are on the way to Ukraine's full membership at NATO.
Yes, I'll come back to that point in a moment, but I want to ask you about the comments from the UK Defence Secretary Ben Wallace, who gave a press briefing and mentioned that perhaps Ukraine could be a little more grateful for the help they've received from the international community at different stages, referencing the domestic political pressures. Your reaction to what he said?
We know that Ben Wallace is a great supporter of Ukraine. The UK has been a great supporter of Ukraine. And I don't think there was a day during the last 503 days during which our top military and political leadership has not expressed our gratitude, because we are sincerely grateful to our allies for providing us with the vital military support, sanctions support, financial support. So, sometimes we may come across as a little impatient, and this is only because of one reason, because every day costs lives of our people. We are still the target of Russia's missile terror. Russian enemy forces are still on our land. So sometimes forgive us for being a little impatient, but that does not mean we are eternally grateful to our partners, and we don't lose any opportunity to thank our partners for standing with us.
So you don't seem particularly put out or insulted by that. Let me ask you a final question then. In terms of the pace of the counter-offensive, is there anything that's been decided over the last very busy 2 days that can anyway speed that up, help with the counter-offensive currently underway?
Well, of course, the need of Ukraine in ammunition, the need of Ukraine in long-range missiles, and as we speak right now, there is a meeting going on between President Zelensky and Mr. Biden. So hopefully there will be progress in that. France has already pledged long-range missiles to Ukraine. Other countries, Germany has said that they will provide us with more Patriot systems. So Norway will provide us with more NASAM systems. These are air defense systems that are necessary to protect our skies and our peaceful cities. And of course, we are looking forward towards the beginning of the F-16 training of pilots program, because Russia's continuous air dominance is a big issue, and we need to overcome it by receiving fourth-generation aircraft, by receiving F-16s.
Yuriy, it's always good to have you on the programme, so thanks so much for taking time to talk to us live there from Kyiv.